Lions held a significant position in ancient Egyptian mythology and religion, representing strength, protection, and divine power. In ancient Egypt, the lion was often associated with several deities, most notably the goddess Sekhmet, who was depicted as a lioness. She was known as the goddess of war and healing, embodying both the fierce protective power of a lion and the nurturing aspects of motherhood. The Egyptians believed that Sekhmet could unleash destruction upon their enemies, but she also had the power to heal and protect her followers, making her a complex figure in the pantheon of gods. Furthermore, the lion symbolized royal authority and was often linked to the pharaohs, who were seen as living gods on earth. The ferocity of the lion was a metaphor for the strength and courage required to rule, and pharaohs would often depict themselves in the company of lions, emphasizing their power and divine right to lead. Statues and carvings of lions adorned temples and tombs, serving both protective and decorative purposes, as they were thought to guard against evil spirits and misfortune. In addition to Sekhmet, another important lion-related figure in ancient Egyptian mythology was Mahes, a lion-headed god associated with war and protection. Mahes was often depicted as a fierce warrior, capable of defending the people and the pharaoh from threats. The lion's roar was considered a powerful sound, symbolizing the might of the gods and the strength of the pharaoh. This connection to roaring also linked lions to the sun, as the sun's powerful, life-giving rays were thought to be akin to the lion's fierce presence. Moreover, the Sphinx, a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, further underscores the lion's importance in ancient Egyptian culture. The Great Sphinx of Giza, one of the most iconic monuments, symbolizes the pharaoh's strength and wisdom, as it stands guard over the pyramids, representing a link between the divine and the earthly realms. The Sphinx was not merely a guardian of the tombs, but also a representation of the pharaoh's power, wisdom, and protective nature, blending human intellect with the raw power of the lion. Lions were also featured in various myths and stories, often embodying the qualities of bravery and loyalty. In many tales, they were seen as protectors of the sun god Ra, who traveled through the sky, facing challenges and adversaries. Similar to lions, majestic and powerful, have captured the imagination of humans for thousands of years, and their representation in prehistoric cave paintings offers a fascinating glimpse into the minds of our ancestors. In various caves across Europe and Africa, such as the famous Lascaux caves in France, artists created stunning depictions of lions, showcasing not just their physical form, but also their significance within the context of early human societies. The paintings often depict lions in dynamic poses, suggesting movement and life, which indicates that these early artists had a deep understanding of the animal's behavior, as well as a respect for its prowess as a hunter and its role in the ecosystem. The presence of lions in these artworks signifies more than just an admiration for their beauty. It reflects the relationship between humans and nature during prehistoric times. Lions were not only top predators, but they also played a crucial role in the survival of early human communities. Early humans, living in close proximity to these powerful creatures, likely viewed them with a mix of fear and reverence. This complex relationship is evident in the way lions are often portrayed alongside other animals, perhaps symbolizing the balance of nature and the delicate interplay between predator and prey. In some interpretations, lions in cave art may represent the spiritual beliefs of these early societies, suggesting that they held a symbolic meaning beyond mere representation. The lion, often associated with strength and courage, could have been seen as a totem or a guardian figure, embodying the traits that early humans aspired to. These cave paintings might have served as a way for early humans to connect with the spiritual world, invoking the power of the lion in their daily lives, whether in rituals, storytelling, or as a means of instilling courage in their communities. Additionally, the depiction of lions in cave art can provide insights into the social structure and dynamics of early human groups. The frequency and prominence of lion images may indicate that these animals were significant in the cultural narratives of the time, potentially hinting at a society that valued teamwork and hunting prowess. As groups of humans banded together to hunt large animals, the lion, a symbol of agility and ferocity, could have served as an emblem of their collective strength and unity, reinforcing social bonds through shared experiences and challenges. The artistic choices made by these prehistoric artists reveal much about their environment and lifestyle. The detailed rendering of lions suggests that these early humans had not only observed these animals closely, but also understood their importance within the food chain. Recognizing the lion, the ancient Greeks had a complex and multifaceted perception of lions, viewing these majestic creatures as powerful symbols that embodied both strength and nobility. In their culture, lions were not just animals, they represented courage, royalty, and even divine protection. This perception was deeply rooted in their mythology, where lions often appeared alongside gods and heroes, serving as fierce companions or formidable adversaries. For instance, the Nemean lion, a ferocious beast in Greek mythology, was famously defeated by Heracles as one of his 12 labors. This lion was not just a creature to be vanquished. It was a symbol of insurmountable challenge, representing the struggle against overwhelming odds, a theme that resonated deeply with the Greek ethos of heroism and perseverance. As a result of this symbolism, lions made a significant impact on Greek art and literature. In sculpture and pottery, lions were frequently depicted in various forms, from majestic statues standing guard at the entrances of temples, to intricate designs on vases, showcasing their fearsome beauty and grandeur. The Greeks admired the lion's physical prowess, often capturing its fierce gaze and powerful stance, which conveyed a sense of awe and reverence. These artistic representations served not only as decorative elements, but also as cultural markers that conveyed messages of strength and protection to those who viewed them. In literature, lions were often used as metaphors, symbolizing bravery in the face of danger or the qualities of a great leader. In works by poets like Homer, lions are portrayed as powerful creatures that embody the ideal traits of warriors, reflecting the societal values of courage and honor. Additionally, Aesop's fables, which often featured lions as central characters, illustrated moral lessons through their interactions with other animals, reinforcing the lion's role as a figure of authority and wisdom. These stories captivated the imagination of the Greeks, highlighting the lion not just as a fearsome predator, but as a creature that could embody deeper philosophical concepts, such as justice, power, and the balance of nature. Moreover, lions were also associated with the divine. In many Greek temples, lion statues were placed as guardians, symbolizing the protection of the gods over the sacred spaces. This connection between lions and the divine further enriched their representation in art, leading to elaborate carvings and paintings that celebrated their strength and majesty, often intertwined with religious significance. The lion's roar was believed to echo the voice of the gods, a powerful reminder of the natural world's might and mystery. During the Roman Empire, the symbolism of lions underwent a significant transformation, particularly in the context of gladiatorial games, where they became powerful symbols of strength, bravery, and the spectacle of violence. Initially, lions were admired for their majestic presence and were seen as symbols of royalty and power, often linked to the gods and seen as protectors. This admiration was evident in Roman art and literature, where lions were depicted as noble creatures, embodying the might of the empire itself. However, as the gladiatorial games gained popularity, the perception of lions shifted dramatically. Instead of being revered as noble beasts, they became instruments of entertainment, used in the arena to fight against gladiators or other animals, showcasing humanity's control over nature, and the thrill of combat became a central theme in Roman culture. The games, notorious for their brutality, featured lions as fierce opponents in battles against trained warriors. These events drew massive crowds who flocked to the amphitheaters to witness the bloodshed, the roar of the lions, and the valor of the gladiators. In this context, lions symbolized not only raw power but also the savage thrill of the hunt and the idea of survival of the fittest. The crowd's reaction to these events, ranging from excitement to horror, further cemented lions as icons of both danger and spectacle, reflecting the complexities of Roman society, where the admiration for strength coexisted with a fascination for violence. Moreover, the use of lions in the arena highlighted the Roman Empire's reach and its ability to import exotic animals from far-off lands, showcasing its power and wealth. This display of dominance over such formidable creatures became a metaphor for the empire's strength and supremacy over nature itself. As the games evolved, the symbolism of lions became intertwined with the themes of glory and mortality, representing the ultimate test of courage, as gladiators faced not only each other, but also these magnificent yet terrifying beasts. In the later years of the empire, as the games began to decline in popularity, the symbolism of lions started to shift once again. They began to be associated with the idea of martyrdom and sacrifice, as early Christians were sometimes thrown to lions in the arena, leading to a more complex and darker interpretation of their symbolism. Thus, the lion transitioned from a symbol of imperial power and entertainment to one representing sacrifice and suffering, reflecting the changing values and beliefs of Roman society. This evolution of the lion's symbolism during the Roman Empire illustrates how cultural practices, such as the historical evidence for the presence of lions in ancient Mesopotamia, is quite fascinating, as it reveals much about the culture, beliefs, and environment of that time. Lions were once native to this region, and their presence is well documented through various archaeological findings, ancient texts, and remarkable pieces of art. In fact, the Mesopotamian civilization, which thrived between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, often depicted lions in their art, reflecting not only their admiration for these great beasts, but also their symbolic significance in society. One of the earliest and most notable pieces of evidence comes from the ruins of ancient cities, such as Uruk and Babylon, where lion motifs were commonly found. These motifs can be seen in cylinder seals, wall reliefs, and sculptures, showcasing lions in both naturalistic and stylized forms. For instance, the famous Ishtar Gate of Babylon, built during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II, features beautifully glazed brick reliefs of lions, emphasizing their strength and regal nature. The gate, adorned with various animals, including dragons and bulls, serves as a vivid reminder of the lion's status in Mesopotamian mythology as a symbol of power and protection. Additionally, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known literary works, contains references to lions. In this epic, the hero Gilgamesh battles a lion, which signifies bravery and the struggle against nature. This battle not only illustrates the lion's role in the wild but also its importance in the cultural narratives of the time, where the lion often represented challenges to be faced and conquered. Furthermore, in the art of ancient Mesopotamia, lions were often associated with deities, particularly the goddess Ishtar, who was linked to war and love. She was frequently depicted riding a lion, symbolizing her power and fierce nature. This association with divine figures further elevated the lion's status, making it a creature of both admiration and reverence among the people. Moreover, lion hunting was a popular royal pastime in Mesopotamia, and it was often depicted in reliefs and carvings. Kings were shown hunting lions as a way to demonstrate their strength, bravery, and right to rule. These depictions were not just for show, they served to reinforce the king's authority and his connection to the divine. The imagery of a king triumphing over a lion can be seen as a metaphor for the king's ability to maintain order and protect his people from chaos. The lion, often seen as the king of beasts, has been a powerful symbol throughout history. Especially in medieval European heraldry, where its image represented strength, courage, and nobility. In the context of heraldry, which is a system of symbols used to identify individuals, families, and nations, the lion became a prominent figure, often depicted in a stylized manner, standing proudly, or in some cases, rampant, which means standing on one hind leg with the forelegs raised, ready to pounce. This stance not only conveyed a sense of readiness and fierceness, but also emphasized the lion's status as a ruler of the animal kingdom, thus mirroring the qualities desired in a monarch. The association of lions with power and authority can be traced back to ancient civilizations, such as the Mesopotamians and Egyptians, where lions were often depicted in art as protectors of the pharaohs and gods. As medieval European society evolved, this imagery was adopted and adapted to fit the needs of the ruling classes. Nobility sought to distinguish themselves from the common populace, and using a lion in their coat of arms became a way to project their lineage, valor, and, importantly, their right to rule. The lion's majestic appearance, combined with its reputation as a fierce predator, made it an ideal emblem for those wishing to convey authority. In addition, the lion is often associated with various virtues, such as bravery, loyalty, and justice, qualities that were highly regarded in knights and rulers during the medieval period. Many coats of arms featured lions not just for their aesthetic appeal, but to signify these noble traits. Moreover, the lion was sometimes portrayed alongside other symbols, such as crowns or shields, further enhancing its royal connotation. The use of colors also played a vital role in heraldry. For instance, a golden lion could symbolize generosity, while a silver lion might represent purity, thus allowing families to convey their values and status through nuanced combinations of imagery. The lion's presence in heraldic symbols was not limited to individual families or knights, as it also became a national emblem for several European countries. For instance, the lion is a prominent symbol in the coats of arms of England and Scotland, representing the strength and unity of these nations. In England, the lion passant, which depicts the lion walking with one paw raised, has been used in the royal arms since the time of Richard the Lionheart, further embedding the lion's image into the cultural and political fabric. Lions, known for their majestic appearance and powerful presence, have long captivated human imagination, appearing in folklore and stories from various cultures around the world. In ancient Egypt, lions were revered as symbols of strength and protection, often associated with the sun god Ra and the goddess Sekhmet, who was depicted as a lioness. These fierce deities were believed to protect the pharaohs and the nation, embodying both destruction and healing, which reflected the dual nature of lions in the wild. In the tales of the Mesopotamians, lions were often depicted as guardians, found at the gates of temples, symbolizing the protection of the divine. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known stories, features lions as fierce opponents, showcasing the struggle between humanity and nature, and highlighting the bravery required to confront such powerful creatures. In African folklore, lions frequently appear as characters that teach valuable life lessons. The story of the lion and the mouse, for instance, illustrates the idea that even the smallest creature can help the mightiest one, promoting themes of humility and kindness. In the cultures of the Maasai people of East Africa, lions are deeply woven into their traditions, representing bravery and courage. Young warriors would hunt lions to prove their strength, and this act was celebrated in songs and dances, emphasizing the lion's role as a symbol of valor. In Hindu mythology, the lion is associated with the goddess Durga, who rides a lion into battle against evil forces, underlining the lion's representation of power, ferocity, and protection in the fight for good. Similarly, in the ancient Greeks' tales, lions appear prominently, as seen in the myth of the Nemean lion, a fearsome beast that was ultimately slain by Hercules as one of his 12 labors. This lion's skin, impenetrable and invincible, became a symbol of Hercules' strength and heroism, illustrating the lion's connection to courage and valor in human stories. In Chinese culture, lions are often seen as auspicious creatures, bringing good fortune and protection. The lion dance, performed during festivals, is meant to chase away evil spirits and bring happiness, showcasing the lion's role as a protector and harbinger of good luck. Across the globe, in Native American tales, lions, or their relatives like cougars and mountain lions, are often depicted as wise and powerful beings that possess a deep connection to the earth, representing strength, assertiveness, and leadership. Lions, known for their majestic presence and powerful roars, have held a significant place in various cultures throughout history, and their portrayal in the Bible reflects this deep cultural significance. In biblical times, lions were symbols of strength, courage, and nobility, often representing the might of empires and the ferocity of nature. This majestic animal appears in several biblical narratives, including the story of Daniel in the lion's den, where Daniel's faithfulness to God protects him from being devoured by these fierce creatures. This story not only illustrates the bravery of Daniel, but it also highlights the lion's role as a terrifying, yet powerful, force within the natural world, embodying the idea that faith can conquer even the most daunting challenges. Moreover, lions are often associated with royalty and authority in the Bible, serving as a powerful emblem for figures like Jesus Christ, who is referred to as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. This title not only signifies strength and kingship but also aligns with the broader cultural understanding of lions as symbols of divine protection, leadership. In many ancient cultures, including those surrounding the biblical context, lions were revered and often depicted in art and literature as guardians, protecting sacred spaces or representing divine majesty. In addition to their symbolic representation of strength, lions also played a role in the moral lessons conveyed through biblical stories. For instance, the imagery of the lion often contrasts with that of the lamb, illustrating themes of power versus gentleness, ferocity versus peace. This duality reflects the complexities of human nature and the struggles between good and evil, emphasizing the idea that even the mightiest can show mercy, while the meek can exhibit strength. Throughout the Bible, the presence of lions also serves as a reminder of the natural world's untamed aspects, revealing the awe and fear that these magnificent animals inspired among people in ancient times. The lion's portrayal reflects a complex relationship between humanity and nature, where the lion embodies both a formidable adversary and a respected symbol of divinity. The cultural significance of lions during biblical times, therefore, is multifaceted, encompassing themes of faith, power, protection, and the intricate balance between strength and gentleness, inviting readers to reflect on their own understanding of courage and morality in the face of life's challenges. Lions, often referred to as the kings of the jungle, held a significant place in the hunting practices of ancient civilizations. Their majestic presence and formidable strength, symbolizing power and bravery. In many cultures, particularly in regions like ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and even in parts of Greece, lions were not just animals, they were revered symbols of royal authority, courage, and the untamed forces of nature. The act of hunting lions was not merely a demonstration of skill, but rather, it was deeply woven into the fabric of social status and cultural identity. For instance, in ancient Egypt, pharaohs often depicted themselves in art and hieroglyphs engaged in the hunt, showcasing their prowess and dominance over these powerful creatures. This portrayal served a dual purpose. It demonstrated the pharaoh's ability to conquer nature, while simultaneously reinforcing their status as a divine ruler, chosen by the gods to maintain order and prosperity for their people. Moreover, the lion hunt was a rite of passage for many elite warriors and noblemen, marking their transition into manhood and their readiness to protect their community. In Mesopotamia, lions were seen as a challenge, a test of bravery, and those who succeeded in hunting them earned immense respect and prestige. This not only elevated their social standing but also solidified their role as protectors of their civilization, reinforcing the idea that they could conquer the fiercest of beasts, thus ensuring the safety of their people from threats, both real and mythical. As a result, lions became intertwined with the mythology and religious practices of these cultures, often associated with gods and goddesses, such as the lion-headed goddess Sekhmet in Egypt, who was seen as a protector and a force of destruction, embodying the duality of nature. The impact of lion hunting on the status of individuals and civilizations was profound. It was not just about the act itself, but about what it represented. The lion symbolized strength, bravery, and the ability to dominate the wild. As such, those who participated in lion hunts were often celebrated in literature and oral traditions, their stories passed down through generations, which helped to cement the lion's status as a symbol of nobility and power. However, this fascination with lions also led to their depiction in various forms of art, from sculptures to paintings, further solidifying their importance in the cultural psyche of ancient peoples. As civilizations evolved, so did the perception of lions. While they remained powerful symbols, the idea of the lion as king really took shape during the Middle Ages, a time when powerful symbols often represented authority and strength, and the lion, being a majestic creature, became a natural emblem of leadership. In medieval Europe, kings and nobles sought to display their power and noble lineage, and the lion, with its regal mane and fierce demeanor, became a symbol of courage and bravery. This association was not merely a fanciful notion. It was deeply rooted in the culture and literature of the time. Many stories, fables, and heraldic traditions depicted lions as noble figures, which helped to solidify their status as symbols of the ruling class. Notably, in heraldry, the lion often appeared on coats of arms, representing various noble families and their claims to power, thus reinforcing the idea that true leaders should embody the lion's characteristics, such as strength, valor, and majesty. Furthermore, the lion's association with royalty can also be traced back to ancient civilizations, but during the Middle Ages, it was amplified by the influence of the Church and the idea of divine right. Monarchs often claimed that their authority was ordained by God. And the lion, being seen as the king of beasts, became an apt representation of divine rule. This connection between lions and divine authority meant that rulers who embraced the lion as their symbol were not just asserting their strength, but were also suggesting that their power was justified and sacred. This imagery had significant implications for leadership, as it set a standard for what it meant to be a good ruler. Leaders were expected to be brave, wise, and just, much like a lion leading its pride. The qualities associated with lions influenced the behavior and expectations of monarchs, pushing them to adopt a more powerful and authoritative persona. This also meant that leadership was often portrayed in a way that idealized these lion-like traits, contributing to a culture where the virtues of strength, courage, and the ability to protect one's subjects were paramount. Moreover, this symbolism extended beyond just kings and queens. It influenced the entire social hierarchy, shaping how people viewed power and authority in general. The lion's image was used not only in royal contexts, but also in literature and art, reinforcing the idea that strength and nobility were to be aspired to. This created a societal expectation that leaders should not only be strong and courageous, but also compassionate and just, reflecting the nurturing side of a lion protecting its young. During this period, archaeological discoveries have uncovered fascinating insights into the relationship between lions and ancient Persian culture, showcasing how these majestic animals were revered and symbolized power, strength, and nobility. One significant discovery is the impressive reliefs found in the ruins of the ancient city of Persepolis, which served as the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire. These reliefs, intricately carved into stone, depict lions alongside the kings and gods, illustrating their importance in the royal iconography of the time. The presence of lions in these artistic expressions suggests that they were not only admired for their physical prowess, but also held a deep symbolic meaning, representing the might of the Persian rulers, who sought to align themselves with these powerful creatures. Moreover, archaeological excavations in regions such as Pasar Gharday, the site of Cyrus the Great's tomb, have revealed lion motifs on various artifacts, including pottery and jewelry, which further emphasize their status in Persian society. These artistic representations speak volumes about how lions were integrated into the cultural and religious practices of the Persians, often associated with deities like Anahita, the goddess of water and fertility, who was sometimes depicted riding a lion, symbolizing her strength and divine power. Additionally, the ancient Persian hunting practices, as evidenced by the remains of lion hunting scenes found in frescoes and bas-reliefs, demonstrate the significance of lions in the royal sport of hunting, known as royal venation. This practice was not just a means of sport, but also served as a display of prowess and a way to reinforce the king's authority over nature and the animal kingdom. The detailed depictions of these hunts reveal the techniques used by hunters and the elaborate rituals that accompanied these events, highlighting the lion's role as both a target and a symbol of bravery. Furthermore, ancient texts and inscriptions, such as those from the Achaemenid period, often refer to lions as symbols of protection and guardianship. Lions were depicted as protectors of palaces and temples, reinforcing their esteemed status within the cultural framework of ancient Persia. The discovery of lion statues, often placed at entrances to sacred spaces or royal complexes, illustrates how these animals were believed to ward off evil and safeguard the realm. In conclusion, the relationship between lions and ancient Persian culture is rich and multifaceted, revealed through a combination of artistic representations, hunting practices, and symbolic meanings that permeated the social and political life of the time. These archaeological findings not only enhance our understanding of the Renaissance period, which flourished from the 14th to the 17th centuries, marked a significant shift in the way artists approached the natural world, including the majestic lion. During this time, there was a resurgence of interest in classical antiquity, where ancient Greeks and Romans revered lions as symbols of strength, courage, and nobility. As artists began to study the works of these ancient cultures, they sought to capture the beauty and power of lions with a new level of realism. This was a time when techniques such as linear perspective and chiaroscuro, which is the play of light and shadow, were developed, allowing artists to create more lifelike representations of animals. One notable artist, Leonardo da Vinci, was known for his detailed studies of anatomy, which extended to the depiction of animals, including lions. His sketches revealed a keen understanding of the lion's muscular structure, fur texture, and expressive features. This attention to detail influenced many artists who followed, encouraging them to observe lions not just as symbols or mythical creatures, but as real animals with their own characteristics and behaviors. Additionally, the Renaissance period saw the rise of patronage by wealthy individuals and institutions, many of whom commissioned artworks that included lions as symbols of power and protection. For instance, the lion became a prominent figure in heraldry, representing bravery in battle and serving as a proud emblem for noble families. Artists like Albrecht Dürer and Hans Holbein the Younger incorporated lions into their works, often showcasing them in a way that emphasized their regal nature, while also reflecting the ideals of strength and virtue that were celebrated during this era. Moreover, the influence of humanism during the Renaissance led to a shift in how animals were depicted in art. Rather than being seen merely as decorative elements, animals began to be portrayed in ways that reflected human emotions and experiences. This change meant that lions were often depicted in more dynamic poses, showcasing their majesty and ferocity, rather than in static or idealized forms. Artists sought to capture the essence of the lion, portraying them in a variety of contexts, from the wild to interactions with humans, highlighting the connection between humanity and nature. As a result, the Renaissance period not only altered the artistic representation of lions, but also imbued these creatures with deeper meanings, linking them to themes of nobility, courage, and the natural order of the world. The legacy of Renaissance art continues to influence how we view lions today. As symbols of strength and beauty, colonialism had a profound impact on the perception and conservation of lions in Africa, reshaping not only how these majestic animals were viewed, but also how they were managed and protected. During the colonial era, many European powers, driven by a desire for exploration and exploitation, often depicted lions as symbols of wildness and savagery. This portrayal was deeply embedded in the colonial narrative, which emphasized the idea of the noble savage, contrasting European civilization with what they considered the untamed nature of Africa. Such depictions led to a fascination with lions among European settlers and tourists, who saw them as thrilling trophies to be hunted, rather than as integral parts of the ecosystem. This fascination fueled a hunting culture that, in many cases, glorified the act of killing lions, considering it a rite of passage for wealthy colonizers. The lion became a target for sport hunting, which significantly reduced their populations. Colonial governments often prioritized the interests of hunters over the conservation needs of wildlife, leading to policies that favored hunting and the establishment of game reserves primarily for the benefit of European hunters. This not only diminished lion numbers, but also disrupted the intricate balance of local ecosystems, as the removal of apex predators like lions had cascading effects on other species and their habitats. Moreover, colonialism introduced new land use practices that further altered lion habitats. The expansion of agriculture, ranching, and urban development encroached on the territories that lions relied upon for hunting and breeding. As human populations grew, conflicts between lions and local communities increased, leading to a perception of lions as threats to livestock and human safety. This view was often perpetuated by colonial authorities, who encouraged the perception that lions needed to be controlled or exterminated to protect colonial interests. In contrast, indigenous cultures often held a different perspective on lions, viewing them as powerful symbols of strength and resilience, and their stories were intertwined with local traditions and beliefs. However, colonialism marginalized these perspectives, sidelining traditional ecological knowledge and practices that had coexisted with wildlife for generations. As a result, the rich cultural significance of lions was overshadowed by a colonial narrative that prioritized exploitation over coexistence. The effects of colonialism were not only immediate, but have had lasting implications for lion conservation in Africa. After independence, many African nations grappled with the legacies of these colonial policies, struggling to balance the needs of local communities with wildlife conservation. Conservation efforts often had to contend with the historical mistrust of outside influences, which were rooted in the depiction of lions in Indian art and literature offers a fascinating contrast to their portrayal in Western cultures, reflecting deep cultural meanings and symbolism that vary greatly between the two. In India, lions are often seen as noble and majestic creatures, embodying strength, bravery, and royalty. They have a significant presence in Hindu mythology, where they are associated with various deities. For instance, the lion is the vahana, or vehicle, of the goddess Durga, symbolizing her power to conquer evil. This connection elevates the lion to a sacred status, and you can see this reverence in ancient sculptures and temple carvings, where lions are depicted not just as animals, but as guardians of the divine, standing majestically at the entrance of temples, representing protection and strength. In contrast, Western cultures have a different perspective on lions, often viewing them as symbols of courage and nobility, but with a more varied representation in literature and art. In medieval Europe, for example, lions were commonly used in heraldry, representing courage and valor, but they were also seen as fierce beasts, often depicted in battle or as part of fables where they symbolize greed or pride. A well-known example is Aesop's fable, The Lion and the Mouse, where the lion is portrayed as powerful but also vulnerable, showcasing a more complex character that reflects moral lessons. Furthermore, the Western depiction of lions has often been influenced by a romanticized view of nature, where the lion represents the wild, untamed forces of the natural world. This contrasts sharply with Indian representations, which tend to emphasize the lion's connection to culture and civilization, linking it to human traits and virtues rather than merely focusing on its wildness. In Indian literature, lions often appear in epics like the Mahabharata and Ramayana, where they symbolize not just physical power, but also the moral and ethical strength of characters. They are described in ways that highlight their role in the balance of nature, often serving as protectors of righteousness. This is quite different from Western narratives, where lions may appear in stories as adversaries or symbols of danger, emphasizing the struggle between humans and nature rather than a harmonious relationship. In summary, while both cultures recognize the lion as a symbol of power and nobility, Indian depictions often imbue the lion with a deeper spiritual significance, connecting it to divine protection and moral strength, whereas Western portrayals tend to focus more on the lion's ferocity and the lion, often referred to as the king of beasts, held a powerful and symbolic presence in medieval bestiaries, which were collections of descriptions of animals, both real and mythical, often accompanied by moral lessons or allegorical meanings. In these texts, the lion was not just an animal, but a complex symbol that reflected the values, fears, and beliefs of medieval society. Its depiction in bestiaries served various purposes, from illustrating the majesty and power of nature to conveying important moral and theological lessons. One of the key implications of the lion's presence in these medieval texts was its representation of Christ. The lion was often associated with qualities such as bravery, nobility, and strength, which were attributes that medieval Christians admired in their faith. In this context, the lion became a symbol of Christ's resurrection, as it was believed that a lion cub was born dead and would come to life 3 days later, mirroring the story of Jesus rising after 3 days in the tomb. This association helped to reinforce the idea of Christ as a powerful and protective figure, much like the lion in the animal kingdom. Furthermore, lions in bestiaries often represented the duality of nature, embodying both ferocity and compassion. They were seen as fierce protectors of their young and their territory, which mirrored the protective nature of a good ruler, and this reflected the ideals of chivalry and governance during the medieval period. The king of beasts was also a reminder of the natural order, where the lion's dominance served as a metaphor for the rightful authority of monarchs and the divine right of kings, reinforcing social hierarchies that were prevalent during that time. The imagery of the lion also sparked interest in the natural world, inspiring curiosity about the exotic wildlife that existed beyond the familiar landscapes of medieval Europe. Bestiaries often included elaborate illustrations, which captivated the imaginations of readers and listeners, further emphasizing the importance of nature in understanding the world around them. This fascination contributed to the rise of natural history as a field of study, as scholars began to seek out knowledge about animals, their behaviors, and their habitats, laying the groundwork for future scientific inquiry. Moreover, the lion's presence in medieval bestiaries highlighted the cultural exchanges taking place during the Middle Ages, as these texts often incorporated elements from various traditions, including those influenced by the Islamic Golden Age. Through translations and adaptations, the lion became a symbol that bridged cultural gaps, showcasing the interconnectedness of societies across. The establishment of zoos in the 18th and 19th centuries marked a significant shift in how people viewed lions, transforming them from fearsome wild beasts, often depicted in tales of bravery and danger, into symbols of grandeur and fascination. Before this time, lions were primarily known through stories, artworks, and the occasional sighting, often evoking a sense of awe and terror, as they were the kings of the animal kingdom, powerful and untamed. However, with the advent of zoos, particularly in Europe, lions began to be showcased in a controlled environment, where people could observe them up close, without the threats posed by their natural behaviors. This change allowed for a new kind of interaction, as visitors marveled at their majestic manes and powerful forms, rather than fearing them as they would in the wild. Zoos began to educate the public about lions, providing insights into their behaviors, habitats, and the challenges they faced in the wild, which fostered a deeper understanding and appreciation for these magnificent creatures. Instead of merely being symbols of danger, lions became representations of conservation efforts, as zoos took on the responsibility of breeding programs and raising awareness about the threats of habitat loss and poaching. This educational aspect encouraged a sense of responsibility among visitors, as they learned about the importance of protecting not just lions, but the ecosystems they inhabit. As zoos evolved, they also began to create more naturalistic habitats for their animals, which further changed the way lions were perceived. No longer were they displayed in cages that evoked a sense of captivity, but rather in environments that mimicked their natural habitats, allowing visitors to see them in more realistic settings. This shift helped to bridge the gap between the wild and the zoo, making lions appear not just as exhibits, but as living beings with their own needs and behaviors. The public's perception shifted from seeing them as mere curiosities to recognizing them as vital components of biodiversity, deserving of protection and respect. Furthermore, the introduction of guided tours, educational programs, and interactive exhibits allowed people to engage with lions in a more meaningful way. Families visited zoos not just for entertainment, but to learn, share experiences, and connect with nature, often leaving with a newfound respect for these animals. The emotional bond that formed between humans and lions at zoos was profound, as visitors began to see them as important creatures in the web of life on Earth. The portrayal of lions in literature, art, and popular culture, the 20th century was a pivotal period for understanding lion behavior and social structure, as it saw numerous scientific advancements that transformed our knowledge of these magnificent creatures. Early in the century, researchers began to use more systematic observation methods, which allowed them to study lions in their natural habitats, rather than relying solely on anecdotal evidence. One significant advancement was the development of radio telemetry in the 1960s, which enabled scientists to track lions' movements and social interactions in real time. This technology provided insights into their hunting patterns, territorial behaviors, and social hierarchies, revealing that lions are not merely solitary hunters, but rather, they exhibit complex social dynamics within prides. In addition, the field of ethology, which focuses on animal behavior, gained prominence during this time. Ethologists studied lions and other animals in a more scientific manner, observing their interactions, vocalizations, and even play behaviors. This rigorous approach helped clarify the roles of males and females within prides, highlighting the cooperative nature of lionesses during hunts and the protective role of males. Furthermore, studies on lion vocalizations led to a better understanding of their communication methods, demonstrating how sounds like roars and growls serve crucial functions in maintaining pride cohesion and establishing territory. The advent of video technology in the later decades allowed researchers to capture lion behavior in unprecedented detail. Documentaries and nature films began to showcase lions in their natural environments, bringing their social interactions to a wider audience and sparking interest in their conservation. This visual documentation complemented field studies, providing a richer understanding of the complexities of pride dynamics, including mating rituals, cub rearing, and the intricate relationships between pride members. Moreover, advancements in genetics and DNA analysis provided new tools for studying lion populations. By examining genetic markers, researchers could track lineage and understand the genetic diversity within and between prides, which is essential for conservation efforts. This genetic research has shown how inbreeding can affect populations, emphasizing the importance of maintaining genetic health for future generations of lions. The late 20th century also saw increased collaboration between wildlife biologists and conservationists, leading to a more holistic approach to studying lions. Projects aimed at protecting habitats and understanding the effects of human encroachment on lion behavior became essential. Researchers began to explore how factors such as poaching, habitat loss, and human-wildlife conflict influenced lion social structures, ultimately shaping conservation strategies. In summary, the scientific advancements of the 20th century, from observational techniques to technological innovations, fundamentally, lions have been powerful symbols in political propaganda for centuries, their majestic presence evoking strength, courage, and nobility. Throughout history, many cultures have adopted the lion as an emblem of power, often associating it with leadership and authority. In ancient Egypt, for example, the lion was linked to the goddess Sekhmet, who represented war and healing. This connection elevated the lion's status as a symbol of royal power and divine protection. Moving to Europe, during the medieval period, lions frequently appeared on coats of arms, signifying bravery and valor, and they were often used by monarchs to showcase their lineage and rightful rule. The British royal family, for instance, has utilized the lion in their heraldry, reinforcing their image as a powerful and rightful authority. In more modern contexts, lions have been employed in political propaganda to rally support and instill a sense of national pride. During World War I, many countries, including Britain, adopted the lion as a symbol of national strength, with posters featuring lions encouraging enlistment and national unity. The image of the lion was crafted to evoke feelings of courage among the populace, urging them to support the war effort. Similarly, in the United States, lions have been utilized in various political campaigns to symbolize strength and determination, often portraying candidates or policies as bold and fearless in the face of adversity. Moreover, in some African nations, lions are often seen as national symbols, representing the spirit and resilience of the people. Countries like Kenya and Tanzania use the lion in their national emblems, connecting the majesty of the animal with ideals of freedom and pride. During independence movements, the lion became a potent symbol of resistance against colonial rule, uniting people under a shared identity and cultural heritage. In contemporary times, the lion continues to be a popular symbol, appearing in political cartoons and campaigns to convey messages of strength or to critique political figures. The lion's fierce image can be manipulated to evoke various emotions, from admiration to fear, depending on the context in which it is used. For example, a politician might be depicted as a lion to suggest that they are a strong leader, while an opponent might be portrayed as a defeated or caged lion, implying weakness or ineffectiveness. Throughout history, the lion's representation in political propaganda has been versatile and impactful, transcending geographical boundaries and cultural contexts. Its ability to symbolize both authority and resilience has made it a lasting figure in the realm of political imagery, ensuring that the lion, a powerful symbol in heraldry, held a significant place in the imagery of medieval Europe, representing not just strength and courage, but also reflecting the complex social hierarchies of the time. In a period where nobility and social rank were paramount, the lion was often chosen as a heraldic animal by kings and nobles, illustrating their status and authority. Its regal connotations made it a popular choice, as the lion was seen as the king of beasts, embodying traits that were highly valued in leaders such as bravery, nobility, and dominance. The usage of lions in coats of arms and shields served to communicate the lineage and power of a family. For example, a lion rampant, standing on its hind legs, was a sign of bravery and readiness for battle, denoting a family's martial prowess and willingness to defend their territory. Moreover, the more lions depicted on a coat of arms, or the more elaborate the design, often indicated a higher social standing or greater achievements, creating a visual language that conveyed information about a family's history and alliances. For instance, a lion passant, walking with one paw raised, might denote peace or a family that was currently not at war, whereas a lion couchant, lying down, could symbolize a family at rest or in a state of peace. The presence of lions in heraldry could also reflect the feudal system, where nobles, who often had the right to bear arms, would display their lions prominently to assert their status over vassals and serfs, who had no such rights. By using lions in heraldry, noble families not only illustrated their own power, but they also reinforced the social structure of the time, where the lion became a common motif across Europe, unifying various noble houses under a similar symbol of strength. The color and design of the lion also played a role. For example, a golden lion on a blue background might signify loyalty and truth, while a silver lion could represent purity and innocence. This careful selection of colors and poses in heraldry was not merely decorative, but deeply symbolic, allowing families to communicate their virtues and values to the wider world. As heraldry evolved, so did the representation of lions. They began to appear in more stylized forms, incorporating elements from different regions and cultures, reflecting the interconnectedness of medieval society. The lion's role in heraldry was not just about individual families, but it also played a part in the larger narrative of power. The portrayal of lions in film and media has undergone a significant transformation throughout the 20th century, reflecting changes in societal attitudes, advancements in filmmaking technology, and a deeper understanding of wildlife conservation. In the early days of cinema, particularly during the silent film era, lions were often depicted as fearsome beasts, symbols of untamed nature, and often used to evoke thrills and excitement. Movies like The Lion's Bride, released in 1927, showcased lions in a more sensational light, focusing on their ferocity and the dangers they posed to humans, which played into the public's fascination with exotic animals. As we moved into the 1930s and 1940s, films began to reflect a growing interest in the natural world, influenced by documentaries and wildlife films that emerged during this time. The 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz featured a lion as one of its main characters. But this lion was not just a fierce predator. Instead, he was portrayed as a cowardly figure in search of courage, which added a layer of complexity to the character, making him relatable and endearing to audiences. This shift marked a departure from the one-dimensional representations of lions as mere threats, moving toward more nuanced portrayals. By the 1960s and 1970s, the rise of wildlife documentaries, such as those produced by the BBC and National Geographic, began to change public perception of lions, highlighting their social structures, family dynamics, and the challenges they faced in the wild. Films like Born Free, released in 1966, celebrated the bond between humans and lions, showcasing the beauty and majesty of these animals while also addressing the crucial issue of conservation. This era saw lions being depicted not just as wild beasts, but as integral parts of the ecosystem, deserving of protection and respect. As the 1980s and 1990s arrived, animated films brought lions into popular culture in a new way. Disney's The Lion King, released in 1994, redefined the lion's image for a whole new generation. The film presented lions not only as kings of the jungle, but also as characters with deep emotional stories, grappling with themes of responsibility, family, and the circle of life. This portrayal resonated with audiences, as it combined entertainment with important messages about nature and conservation, inspiring many to learn more about lions and their habitats. Entering the 20th century, the portrayal of lions in media continued to evolve. The decline of lion populations in the wild, particularly noticeable in the late 20th century, had a significant impact on conservation efforts, sparking a wave of concern and action among wildlife organizations, governments, and local communities alike. As the number of lions dwindled, from an estimated 200 in the 1970s to around 20 by the early 2000s, this drastic reduction highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive conservation strategies, as lions are not just iconic animals, but also play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of their ecosystems. Their decline raised alarms about the health of savanna ecosystems, where lions help control herbivore populations, thus preventing overgrazing and promoting biodiversity. The recognition of this decline led to increased funding and resources allocated to conservation projects, which now focused not only on protecting lions, but also on preserving their habitats, as well as the various species that share these environments. This shift in focus resulted in the establishment of protected areas, wildlife reserves, and national parks, aimed at creating safe havens for lions and their prey. Moreover, the decline prompted a push for community-based conservation efforts, where local populations were engaged in protecting lions, often through ecotourism initiatives that provided economic benefits, thereby fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility towards wildlife. Furthermore, the decline of lion populations spurred research and data collection on lion behavior, genetics, and social structures, leading to a better understanding of their needs and the challenges they face. Conservationists began to advocate for innovative strategies, such as creating wildlife corridors to connect isolated lion populations, ensuring genetic diversity, and mitigating human-wildlife conflict, which often arises from lions preying on livestock. Public awareness campaigns also increased during this time, as stories of declining lion numbers captured media attention, drawing in support from animal lovers and conservation enthusiasts worldwide. The plight of the lion became symbolic of broader threats facing wildlife, galvanizing action not only for lions but for endangered species across the globe. In response to these challenges, international organizations, such as the World Wildlife Fund and the African Wildlife Foundation, began collaborating with local governments and communities, emphasizing the importance of sustainable practices that benefit both wildlife and human populations. This collaborative approach sought to balance the needs of people living near lion habitats with the imperative to conserve these majestic animals, leading to a more integrated and holistic view of wildlife conservation. Overall, the decline of lion populations in the late 20th century served as a wake-up. The discovery of fossil records has been a significant milestone in understanding prehistoric lions, as well as the environments they inhabited. Fossils provide a unique window into the past, allowing scientists to piece together the lifestyles, behaviors, and habitats of these magnificent creatures. For instance, the remains of prehistoric lions, such as the cave lion, which lived during the Pleistocene epoch, reveal much about their physical characteristics, including size and dental structure. By examining these fossils, researchers can infer their diet, which likely consisted of large herbivores, such as mammoths and bison, suggesting that these lions were powerful hunters, capable of taking down big prey. Moreover, fossil records often include not just the lions themselves, but also the bones of their prey, as well as the sediments and plant material from the environments in which they lived. This combination of evidence helps scientists reconstruct the ecosystems that existed at the time. For example, fossils found in Europe and Asia indicate that cave lions roamed in cold, open grasslands, where they adapted to hunting in packs, similar to modern lions. They thrived in these habitats, which offered ample opportunities for hunting and shelter in caves, as their name suggests. Additionally, the locations where these fossils are found provide clues about the geographical distribution of prehistoric lions. Some fossils have been discovered in areas that are now quite different from what they were millions of years ago, such as in the tundra or steppe regions. This indicates that prehistoric lions were once much more widespread, adapting to various climates and environments throughout their existence. The fossil record also shows evidence of interactions with early humans, as some sites contain lion remains alongside artifacts, suggesting that these magnificent creatures were part of the human experience and culture during the Paleolithic era. As we study more fossils, we continue to learn about the adaptations that allowed these lions to thrive in their environments. Some features, like their larger size compared to modern lions, hint at evolutionary responses to their habitats and available prey. Understanding these adaptations helps us to appreciate not only the prehistoric lions themselves, but also the complex ecosystems in which they lived, showcasing the interconnectedness of all life forms throughout history. The ongoing research into fossil records not only enhances our knowledge of prehistoric lions, but also informs conservation efforts for their modern relatives, as understanding their past can help protect the future of these incredible creatures. In ancient times, lions were more than just majestic creatures. They were symbols of power, strength, and royalty. As such, they played a significant role in the diplomatic relations between various kingdoms. When one kingdom sought to strengthen its ties with another, gifting a lion was often seen as a grand gesture. This practice was particularly noted in regions like the Near East and Africa, where lions were regarded as kings of beasts, embodying the qualities that rulers desired to reflect in their own leadership. For instance, in ancient Egypt, pharaohs would sometimes send lions to neighboring territories as a way to showcase their strength and benevolence. This act was not merely about showing off wealth or power. It was a strategic move to forge alliances, signifying trust and respect. The recipient of such a gift would be expected to reciprocate, which often led to a cycle of gifting between kingdoms, enhancing diplomatic relations while also embedding lions in the cultural narrative of both societies. Additionally, lions were often used in royal iconography, serving as a symbol of divine protection and authority. In many cultures, a lion was seen as a protector of the realm, and having one, whether as a gift or a royal pet, elevated the status of the ruler. The presence of a lion in a kingdom could intimidate enemies and inspire awe among subjects. This dynamic made lions not just animals, but vital components in the political landscape of ancient civilizations. Moreover, the act of gifting lions also had practical implications. It was an acknowledgement of the recipient's valor and their ability to handle such a powerful creature. This, in turn, reflected on their leadership qualities and the ability to protect and maintain peace. The gifting of lions could also signify a pact of peace, a mutual understanding that both kingdoms recognized the strength of the other, allowing for a more stable relationship. As time went on, this tradition evolved, with lions being featured in art, literature, and even religious symbolism. Their fierce nature became intertwined with the identities of ancient civilizations, influencing how they viewed bravery, leadership, and loyalty. Thus, the gifting of lions was not just an exchange of animals, it was a complex interplay of politics, culture, and the shared values of ancient peoples, deeply rooted in their understanding of nature and the world around them. Indigenous African cultures have a rich and varied relationship with lions, which goes beyond mere admiration or fear. These majestic creatures hold deep significance in the spiritual, social, and cultural realms. For many communities, the lion is not just an animal, but a symbol of strength, bravery, and leadership. Various tribes, such as the Maasai of East Africa, have historically viewed lions as symbols of courage and prowess, often engaging in traditional lion hunting as a rite of passage for young warriors. This practice, while controversial today, was seen as a demonstration of skill and bravery, showcasing the individual's ability to confront danger and emerge victorious. In addition to these warrior traditions, lions also appear prominently in folklore and mythology across the continent. Many African stories feature lions as central characters, often embodying qualities such as wisdom or ferocity. For instance, in some tales, lions are depicted as wise leaders who guide other animals, while in others, they serve as reminders of the consequences of pride or arrogance. These stories are passed down through generations, serving not only as entertainment but also as moral lessons and cultural touchstones. Furthermore, lions are often associated with various deities and spiritual beliefs. In many cultures, lions are seen as protectors or guardians, with their presence believed to ward off evil spirits. This belief can be observed in rituals and ceremonies where lion motifs are used, symbolizing power and protection. In some instances, the roar of a lion is considered a sacred sound, connecting the physical world with the spiritual realm, and invoking respect and reverence for nature's powerful beings. The lion's role in the ecosystem also intersects with indigenous beliefs. Many communities recognize the lion as a vital part of the natural order, playing a crucial role in maintaining the balance of their environment. This understanding fosters a sense of stewardship, encouraging communities to protect their habitats and the wildlife that inhabits them. The lion's presence in the savannas and grasslands is often celebrated through dance, song, and art, reflecting a deep appreciation for the animal's majesty and its place in the broader tapestry of life. Overall, the historical interaction between indigenous African cultures and lions reveals a complex tapestry of respect, fear, and reverence. From warrior traditions and folk tales to spiritual beliefs and ecological understanding, lions occupy a significant space in the hearts and minds of many African peoples, embodying the intricate connections between humanity and the natural world that surrounds them. The lion, a majestic creature known for its strength and courage, holds a significant place in the creation stories of various indigenous tribes around the world. In many African cultures, the lion symbolizes power and leadership, often depicted as a protector of the natural world. For instance, among the Maasai people, the lion is revered as a symbol of bravery, and their stories often highlight the lion's role as a guardian of the savanna, embodying the spirit of the land. This connection to the land is not just about strength, it represents the balance of nature, where the lion is seen as a crucial player in the ecosystem, maintaining harmony among various species. In some Native American tribes, the lion, although not as commonly featured as in African tales, is sometimes represented through the symbolism of the mountain lion or cougar. These stories often reflect themes of transformation and spirituality, where the mountain lion serves as a guide or a teacher. The stories illustrate how the mountain lion helps individuals find their inner strength, teaching lessons about courage, resilience, and self-discovery. This connection showcases the deep respect indigenous cultures have for the animal, viewing it as a vital part of their spiritual and natural landscape. In India, the lion holds a prominent position in mythology, particularly in the context of Hindu deities. The goddess Durga, often depicted riding a lion, represents the triumph of good over evil, signifying the lion's role as a symbol of strength and protection. Durga's battles against demons emphasize the lion's fierce nature, portraying it as a guardian that stands against chaos and destruction. This imagery transcends mere storytelling as it weaves into the cultural fabric, reflecting the values and beliefs of the society. Moving to the Pacific Islands, some indigenous stories feature the lion as a creature of the sea, blending the terrestrial and aquatic realms. In these tales, the lion symbolizes bravery in the face of adversity, representing the connection between land and ocean. The lion's portrayal in these stories emphasizes the relationship between humans and nature, illustrating how both must coexist and respect one another. Across different cultures, the lion often serves as a metaphor for human qualities such as courage, leadership, and protection. The stories told by various tribes highlight the lion's role not just as a powerful predator, but as a vital part of the community's moral and spiritual lessons. In essence, the lion embodies the characteristics that many indigenous tribes aspire to emulate, making it a revered figure in their creation narratives. Whether seen as the rise of wildlife conservation movements in the 21st century has played a crucial role in addressing the numerous threats faced by lions, which have seen significant decline in their populations due to habitat loss, poaching, and human-wildlife conflict. As awareness grew about the precarious situation of lions, many organizations, both local and international, began to advocate for the protection of these majestic animals, highlighting the importance of preserving biodiversity and ecosystems. One of the key strategies employed by these movements has been the establishment of protected areas, such as national parks and wildlife reserves, which provide safe havens for lions to thrive without the immediate threats posed by human activities. This has not only helped in conserving lion populations, but it has also contributed to the restoration of entire ecosystems, as lions play a vital role as apex predators in maintaining the balance of their habitats. Additionally, conservation groups have focused on community engagement and education, recognizing that local communities are often on the front lines of human-wildlife conflict. By involving these communities in conservation efforts, educating them about the ecological importance of lions, and offering incentives for protecting wildlife, these movements have fostered a sense of stewardship among local populations. Programs that provide alternative livelihoods, such as ecotourism, allow communities to benefit financially from the presence of lions, reducing the incentive to harm them. Moreover, many conservation initiatives have implemented anti-poaching measures, working closely with local authorities to combat illegal hunting and trade. These efforts have included training and equipping rangers, increasing surveillance in key areas, and raising awareness about the consequences of poaching, not only for lions but for the entire ecosystem. In addition to these on-the-ground efforts, the rise of wildlife conservation movements has also led to increased advocacy for policy changes at national and international levels, aiming to strengthen legal protections for lions and their habitats. This includes lobbying for stricter regulations on hunting and trade, as well as promoting sustainable land use practices that consider the needs of both wildlife and human populations. Furthermore, the global conservation community has rallied around initiatives like the Lion Recovery Fund, which focuses specifically on reversing the decline of lion populations through targeted investments and support for effective conservation projects. These collaborative efforts have encouraged a more holistic approach to conservation, emphasizing the interconnectedness between wildlife, ecosystems, and human communities. The combination of habitat protection, community involvement, anti-poaching strategies, and policy advocacy has created a multifaceted approach to conservation, which has seen some positive results in lion populations in various. Modern documentaries offer a fascinating glimpse into the social dynamics of lion prides, revealing intricate behaviors and relationships that differ significantly from historical accounts. Historically, lions were often portrayed as solitary hunters, with a focus on their ferocity and strength, but contemporary studies have shown that their social structure is much more complex. For instance, many documentaries highlight the importance of female lions, or lionesses, who play a crucial role in hunting, nurturing cubs, and maintaining the pride's social bonds. Unlike earlier portrayals, which might have emphasized the male lion's dominance, current insights illustrate that lionesses often work together in coordinated hunting strategies, showcasing their intelligence and cooperation. Moreover, modern filmmakers utilize advanced technology, such as drones and night vision cameras, to capture behaviors that were previously unseen, revealing how lion prides communicate through vocalizations, body language, and even facial expressions. These documentaries often delve into the emotional aspects of lion life, showcasing moments of affection, play, and social interactions that paint a richer picture of their community dynamics. Additionally, the concept of leadership within the pride has evolved. Where, once the focus was on the alpha male, recent observations indicate that pride leadership can be more fluid, with both males and females taking on roles depending on circumstances. Another significant insight from today's films is the impact of external factors on pride dynamics, such as competition with other predators, habitat loss, and human encroachment. For example, documentaries often explore how these pressures can lead to changes in pride size or structure, with some prides becoming smaller or more fragmented as they adapt to their changing environment. This adaptation can affect social relationships within the pride. When resources are scarce, lionesses may prioritize their cubs' survival over other social interactions, leading to more complex social hierarchies. Furthermore, modern documentaries emphasize the importance of coalition building among males, showcasing how young males often form alliances to challenge dominant males and gain access to mating opportunities. These alliances can shift over time, demonstrating the strategic social maneuvering that occurs within prides. This contrasts sharply with historical narratives that simplified these interactions, neglecting the nuances of lion social behavior. Overall, the insights provided by contemporary documentaries enrich our understanding of lion prides, moving beyond mere survival instincts to explore the emotional and social intricacies that define their lives. They remind us of the delicate balance of relationships within a pride, the importance of cooperation among females, and the ever-changing dynamics shaped by both social interactions and environmental challenges. Such documentaries invite viewers to appreciate the complexities of the evolution of the internet has significantly transformed how lions are represented and discussed worldwide, creating a dynamic platform for education, awareness, and conservation efforts. In the past, information about lions was often limited to books, documentaries, and nature programs, which, while informative, were not as widely accessible to the general public. With the advent of the internet, the way people interact with information has changed dramatically. Social media platforms, blogs, and websites dedicated to wildlife have emerged, allowing for a more interactive and engaging approach to sharing knowledge about lions. For instance, wildlife photographers and conservationists can now share their experiences and findings in real time, showcasing the majestic beauty of lions and their habitats through stunning images and videos. This visual storytelling helps capture the attention of audiences who may not have been reached through traditional media, fostering a greater appreciation for these magnificent creatures. Additionally, online platforms have facilitated discussions that were previously confined to academic circles, enabling a broader audience to engage in conversations about the challenges lions face, such as habitat loss and poaching. Forums and social media groups dedicated to wildlife conservation allow individuals from around the globe to share information, experiences, and strategies for protecting lions and their ecosystems. This has led to a more informed public, with people becoming advocates for lion conservation and participating in campaigns to protect these animals. Moreover, the internet has played a crucial role in raising awareness about the plight of lions, particularly through viral campaigns and petitions that can quickly gather support. For example, hashtags on social media can bring attention to specific issues affecting lions, trending discussions that lead to increased visibility and action. The ability to share stories, both positive and negative, has humanized the challenges that lions face, creating a sense of urgency and connection among audiences who may be thousands of miles away from the animals themselves. Online documentaries and educational videos have also provided a platform for experts in wildlife biology and conservation to share their research and insights, making complex topics more accessible to a general audience. This democratization of information has empowered many individuals to take part in the conversation, leading to grassroots movements and community efforts to protect lions and their habitats. Furthermore, the rise of citizen science initiatives has allowed ordinary people to contribute to lion research and conservation by reporting sightings, participating in data collection, and supporting local conservation efforts. This collaborative approach enhances the public's understanding of lion behavior and ecology, as they become active participants in the preservation of these species. In summary, the evolution of the internet has not only changed how lions are represented. The lion, revered and admired across various cultures, stands as a symbol of strength, courage, and nobility, often associated with royalty, power, and bravery. In many countries, the lion's majestic presence resonates deeply, serving not just as a national animal, but as an emblem that embodies the spirit of a nation. For instance, in countries like England, the lion has long been associated with the monarchy, representing the fierce and protective nature of the realm. The lion's image appears on coats of arms, flags, and various insignia, reinforcing its status as a guardian of the nation, while also connecting people to a rich historical legacy. In Africa, the lion holds a different, yet equally significant place in cultural narratives. Many African nations, such as Kenya and Ethiopia, celebrate the lion not only for its physical prowess, but also for its role in folklore and storytelling. The lion often features in tales that convey moral lessons, emphasizing themes of bravery, community, and respect for nature. This cultural significance can deepen the connection people feel towards their land and heritage, inspiring a sense of pride and responsibility towards wildlife conservation. Furthermore, the lion's status as a national symbol can influence tourism, drawing visitors intrigued by the opportunity to see this majestic creature in its natural habitat. Countries like South Africa and Tanzania, known for their wildlife reserves and national parks, benefit economically from ecotourism, which is often centered around the lion. This creates a complex relationship where the lion becomes a focal point for conservation efforts, as protecting the lion also means preserving the ecosystems it inhabits, which in turn supports local communities and economies. However, the lion as a national symbol can also lead to challenges. In regions where human-wildlife conflict occurs, the lion's presence might evoke fear or resentment among communities that rely on livestock for their livelihood. Balancing the cultural reverence for the lion with the practical realities of coexistence becomes crucial. This has led to various initiatives aimed at educating communities about conservation, fostering respect for wildlife, and finding sustainable solutions to mitigate conflict. Moreover, the lion's portrayal in media and popular culture can shape perceptions and attitudes towards wildlife. Films, literature, and art often depict lions as noble creatures, reinforcing their status as icons of strength. However, these portrayals can sometimes simplify the complexities of their existence in the wild, leading to misunderstandings about their behavior and needs. It's important for cultural representations to align with ecological realities, promoting a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by The advent of photography in the late 19th and early 20th centuries brought about a significant shift in how people perceived lions, transforming them from distant, mythical creatures into subjects of fascination and study. Before photography, most people had only heard stories or seen illustrations of lions, which often depicted them as fearsome beasts, symbols of strength and danger, or noble creatures in the wild. However, with the introduction of photography, images began to capture lions in their natural habitats, showcasing not just their power, but also their beauty, grace, and complexity. Photographers, like the renowned wildlife photographer George Shiras III, began to venture into the wild, using new techniques to capture lions in action, whether they were prowling through tall grasses, playing with their cubs, or resting under the shade of acacia trees. These images brought a sense of realism and authenticity, allowing the public to see lions as they truly are, rather than as mere symbols or caricatures. This shift in perspective was crucial, as it began to evoke emotions of empathy and admiration rather than just fear. Moreover, as these photographs were published in magazines and books, they reached a wider audience, inspiring a growing interest in wildlife conservation. People began to understand the importance of preserving natural habitats, not just for the sake of lions, but for the entire ecosystem. The visual impact of photography highlighted the need to protect these magnificent animals from threats such as hunting and habitat loss, leading to early conservation movements. Additionally, photography also played a role in documenting the behaviors and social structures of lion prides, revealing their complex relationships and interactions. This newfound understanding further humanized lions in the eyes of the public, showing them as not just solitary predators, but as social creatures that exhibit nurturing behaviors and strong familial bonds. The portrayal of lions through photography made them relatable, allowing people to connect with them on a deeper level. As the 20th century progressed, the rise of documentary filmmaking added another layer to this transformation. Films showcased lions in their natural environments, capturing their hunting strategies, vocalizations, and interactions with other wildlife. This visual storytelling captivated audiences, further solidifying the lion's place in popular culture and fostering a sense of wonder about the natural world. In summary, the advent of photography fundamentally changed the public's view of lions by making them more accessible, relatable, and worthy of protection. It bridged the gap between humans and these majestic animals, fostering a new appreciation and understanding that helped pave the way. Throughout history, lion hunting has been documented as a royal pastime in various cultures, showcasing not only the power and prestige of the rulers, but also reflecting the values and beliefs of their societies. In ancient Mesopotamia, kings often participated in lion hunts, with records from the Assyrian Empire highlighting the significance of these events. Assyrian reliefs and inscriptions depict kings like Ashurbanipal, who is famously shown hunting lions with a bow, symbolizing his strength and divine right to rule, which was deeply tied to the concept of kingship in that era. Similarly, in ancient Egypt, pharaohs were often portrayed in hunting scenes where they would confront lions, representing their dominance over nature and their role as protectors of their people. This act of hunting was not merely for sport, it was a demonstration of bravery, skill, and control over the chaotic forces of the wild, reflecting the societal value placed on heroism and strength. In Roman times, the elite participated in lion hunts, which were often staged in arenas, showcasing their wealth and status. The grand spectacles of man versus beast served as a form of entertainment for the masses, but they also reinforced the social hierarchy, where the ruling class displayed their power over nature and the lives of animals, emphasizing dominance and control. This hunting culture revealed a society that valued bravery, physical prowess, and the spectacle of violence, which was seen as an essential part of maintaining order and authority. In medieval Europe, lion hunting became associated with nobility. where it was often seen as an indicator of a knight's valor and skill. Records from this period, particularly in England and France, show that kings would host hunts as a way to display their power and to bond with their vassals, reinforcing feudal loyalty and relationships. The presence of lions in heraldry, as symbols of courage and nobility, further illustrates how hunting these majestic creatures was intertwined with the identity of the ruling class. The act of hunting lions thus became a way to express and reinforce societal values, including bravery, status, and the connection between the ruler and their land. In more recent history, such as during the colonial era, lion hunting was often used to assert dominance over newly acquired territories, with colonial powers viewing the hunt as a rite of passage. The trophies from these hunts became symbols of conquest and adventure, often displayed in homes or museums, indicating a society that valued exploration, dominance, and the thrill of the hunt, while also reflecting a more. Lions have long been symbols of strength, courage, and nobility, and their use in military insignias reflects these qualities, as well as the historical contexts in which various armies and nations have operated. One of the most prominent examples is the British Army, which has incorporated the lion into its insignia since the 15th century, often representing valor and the monarchy's power. The lion's image was particularly associated with the English crown, and it was used on the royal coat of arms, signifying the close ties between military strength and royal authority. In addition to the British Army, other nations have also utilized lions in their military emblems. For instance, the coat of arms of the Netherlands features a lion, which has represented the Dutch struggle for independence and the valor of its soldiers throughout history. This image is often linked to the Dutch War of Independence in the late 16th century, where the lion became a symbol of resistance against oppression. Similarly, the lion is a key element in the insignia of several African nations, such as the Lion of Judah in Ethiopia, which symbolizes strength and is deeply rooted in the country's history of resistance against colonialism. Moreover, during World War I and World War II, various regiments adopted lion insignias to embody their fighting spirit. The Indian Army's use of the lion, for example, reflects both the historical significance of the animal in Indian culture, where it represents power and royalty, and the contributions of Indian soldiers in the British military during those tumultuous times. The lion's depiction in military contexts often served as a morale booster, reminding soldiers of their heritage and the bravery expected of them in battle. In ancient times, lions were also used in the armies of various civilizations, such as the Roman Empire, where they were often depicted in art and insignia to convey dominance and might. The Romans understood the psychological impact of such symbols, using them to instill fear in their enemies and pride in their troops. The lion's association with the sun, power, and the divine made it an ideal figure for representing military might. Furthermore, the lion's role in heraldry, where it appears in numerous coats of arms across Europe, signifies the lineage and valor of noble families, many of whom had military backgrounds. The lion's fierce demeanor and majestic stature made it a fitting symbol for those who sought to convey their martial heritage and aspirations for greatness. In modern times, military units around the world continue to adopt the lion in their. Lions, often called the kings of the jungle, have had a significant impact on cultures around the world, and this influence extends even to the naming of cities and regions. Throughout history, the majestic presence of lions has inspired various places, reflecting their strength, bravery, and regal nature. For instance, in the ancient city of Nemea, located in Greece, the Nemean lion was a central figure in mythology, famously defeated by Hercules as one of his 12 labors. This legendary creature gave its name to the region, symbolizing the heroic efforts of the mythological hero. Moreover, in the heart of London, England, the iconic Trafalgar Square features the famous lion statues designed by Sir Edwin Landseer, and these lions have become symbols of British resilience and pride. The square itself commemorates the Battle of Trafalgar, but the lions symbolize the strength of the nation, and they have influenced the cultural landscape of the city, attracting tourists and locals alike. In Africa, the presence of lions has influenced the naming of various regions, such as the Lion Mountain in Sierra Leone, which serves as a prominent geographic landmark. The mountain represents not just the physical presence of lions in the area, but also the cultural significance they hold for local tribes and communities, often representing power and protection. Moving across the globe, the city of Lyon in France, whose name is believed to be derived from the Latin word lion, reflects the historical significance of these animals in the region. The city has embraced the lion as a symbol, showcasing it in various monuments and emblems throughout its history, signifying strength and courage in its own right. In the Caribbean, the island of St. Lucia features a landmark known as the pitons, which are often referred to as the lion's head due to their shape and stature. This name not only highlights the natural beauty of the region, but also connects the landscape to the powerful image of the lion, resonating with the local culture and identity. Throughout the Americas, various places have adopted lion-themed names as well, such as the town of Lionville in Pennsylvania, which reflects the settlers' admiration for the animal's majesty and strength, serving as a reminder of the qualities they aspired to embody in their new lives. Similarly, the region of Lions Bay in British Columbia, Canada, showcases the connection to the natural world, as well as the respect for the wildlife that inhabits the area. These examples illustrate how the portrayal of lions in children's literature has played a significant role in shaping their perception in modern culture, presenting these magnificent creatures as symbols of strength, bravery, and majesty. From classic tales like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where Aslan represents not only a powerful leader, but also embodies wisdom and sacrifice, to more contemporary stories like The Lion Guard, where young lions are depicted as protectors of the Pride Lands. These narratives have contributed to a rich tapestry of imagery and ideas surrounding lions. Through colorful illustrations and engaging storytelling, children are introduced to lions in ways that emphasize their social structures, familial bonds, and roles within the ecosystem, often casting them as noble characters who embark on heroic adventures or face moral dilemmas. This representation can influence how children view lions, not merely as wild animals, but as relatable figures that embody human qualities, such as courage and loyalty. As they read these stories, children often develop a sense of awe and fascination, which can foster an appreciation for wildlife and conservation efforts later in life. Importantly, literature often glosses over the harsher realities of a lion's life in the wild, such as their territorial battles, hunting struggles, and the challenges they face due to human encroachment on their habitats. This romanticized view, while captivating, can lead to misconceptions about lions, causing some to overlook the complexities of their behavior and the threats they encounter in the wild. Additionally, the portrayal of lions in literature is not only limited to positive traits. Sometimes, they are depicted as cunning or aggressive, which can create a duality in how children perceive these animals. Stories that include lions as antagonists, such as in some fables or cautionary tales, can instill fear or mistrust, shaping a more ambivalent view among young readers. These varied representations reflect broader cultural narratives about nature, where animals are often anthropomorphized to convey moral lessons or to engage with themes of good versus evil, ultimately contributing to a nuanced understanding of lions in the minds of the audience. Furthermore, the influence of media and popular culture, including animated films and television shows, has also transformed the perception of lions in modern society. The success of films like The Lion King has solidified the lion's place as a cultural icon, fostering a sense of nostalgia and emotional connection that transcends generations. The music, characters, and storylines resonate deeply with audiences, reinforcing the lion's status as a symbol of courage. And the portrayal and treatment of lions in circuses historically raises several ethical considerations that reflect broader issues concerning animal welfare, exploitation, and public perception. For many years, lions, along with other wild animals, were captured from their natural habitats or bred in captivity, and then trained to perform in front of audiences, often subjected to harsh training methods, which, unfortunately, included physical punishment and psychological stress, all aimed at ensuring they complied with the demands of the circus acts, whether it be jumping through hoops, balancing on balls, or performing tricks that mimic unnatural behaviors. One of the primary ethical concerns revolves around the concept of consent, which, of course, is not applicable to animals in the same way it is to humans. Lions, being instinctual and powerful predators, were often stripped of their natural behaviors, confined to small cages, and forced into environments that did not reflect their needs or instincts, leading to significant mental health issues, such as depression and anxiety, which are increasingly recognized in animals as well as humans. This confinement, paired with the stress of travel from one performance venue to another, often exacerbated their suffering, raising questions about whether the entertainment value provided to humans truly justifies the pain and distress inflicted on these majestic creatures. Additionally, there is the issue of public perception and the message it sends about wildlife, particularly regarding how lions are viewed in society. When lions are presented as mere entertainers, performing tricks for human amusement, it can lead to a misunderstanding of their natural behavior and status as apex predators in the wild, potentially influencing how people view conservation efforts or their role in ecosystems. The glamorization of lions in circuses often overshadows the reality of their existence in the wild, where they face threats such as habitat loss, poaching, and human-wildlife conflict. Furthermore, the rise of animal rights movements has sparked significant debate about the ethics of using wild animals in entertainment, prompting many circuses to re-evaluate their practices. As public awareness grows regarding the complexities of animal welfare, many circuses have chosen to eliminate wild animal acts altogether, recognizing that the traditional model is no longer acceptable in a society that increasingly values compassion and ethical treatment of all living beings. The discussion surrounding the portrayal of lions in circuses also highlights the need for greater understanding and respect for wildlife, advocating for a shift towards education and conservation-focused alternatives, such as sanctuaries and wildlife reserves, where lions can thrive in environments that closely resemble their natural habitats, allowing them to work. The representation of lions in video games has changed quite a bit over the years, reflecting how society views wildlife, especially big cats like lions. In earlier games, lions were often depicted as fierce, almost mindless predators, emphasizing their role as powerful hunters, which mirrored a more traditional view of nature as something to be dominated or conquered. Players were often encouraged to see lions as enemies to be defeated, which spoke to a society that was more focused on control and less on conservation. However, as environmental awareness has grown, so has the portrayal of lions in gaming. More recent titles have begun to show them in more complex ways, reflecting their importance in ecosystems and highlighting the threats they face due to habitat loss and poaching. In these newer games, lions are not just seen as adversaries. Instead, they are often portrayed as majestic creatures, deserving of respect and protection. This shift shows a growing recognition of the need to preserve wildlife and protect natural habitats. Some games even feature narrative elements that educate players about the challenges lions face, like declining populations and the impact of human activity on their environment. This can create a sense of empathy among players, encouraging them to think about real-world issues regarding wildlife conservation. Furthermore, many games now allow players to experience life as a lion, exploring their behaviors, social structures, and the ecosystem they inhabit, leading to a deeper understanding of their role in nature. The graphics and storytelling in these games often reflect a more nuanced view of lions. They show their family dynamics, their hunting strategies, and their interactions with other animals. This shift in representation mirrors a broader societal change towards valuing wildlife not just for their aesthetic appeal or their role in the food chain, but as vital parts of our planet's biodiversity. Moreover, as games increasingly include elements of survival and coexistence, players are often faced with moral choices that can lead to a greater appreciation for wildlife, reinforcing the idea that lions, like all animals, have a place in the world that deserves to be respected and protected. As society continues to grapple with the effects of climate change and habitat destruction, the way lions and other wildlife are represented in video games can serve as a powerful tool for education and awareness. It can inspire players to advocate for conservation efforts, making the gaming experience not just entertaining, but also transformative in how we view and interact with the natural world. The Great Depression, which lasted from 1929 to the late 1930s, had profound effects on many aspects of society, including the realm of wildlife conservation, particularly for lions, which were already facing numerous threats due to habitat loss and hunting. During this time, the economic hardships faced by people across the globe shifted priorities significantly. With so many families struggling to make ends meet, public interest in wildlife conservation, including lion conservation, faced a noticeable decline. People were more focused on immediate survival, such as finding food, shelter, and work, than on the plight of animals in distant lands. Funding for conservation efforts took a major hit as well. Many organizations that previously relied on donations found that fewer people were willing or able to contribute funds when they were concerned about their own financial security. This meant that programs aimed at protecting lions, which often involved costly measures like anti-poaching patrols, habitat restoration, and community education, were severely underfunded. The economic crisis led some governments to cut budgets for parks and wildlife management, further jeopardizing the conservation of lions. However, it's interesting to note that, amidst the difficult circumstances, some individuals and organizations recognized the importance of wildlife not just for ecological balance, but also for the potential to draw in tourism revenue, which could help boost local economies. This dual approach sparked some renewed discussions about conservation, albeit on a smaller scale, as a few committed individuals pushed for the recognition of lions as a vital part of their ecosystems. Furthermore, as the decade progressed, the notion of conservation began to evolve, with some people connecting the survival of wildlife, including lions, to broader environmental concerns. This gradual shift in perception helped lay the groundwork for future conservation movements as awareness grew about the interconnectedness of human and animal welfare. In essence, while the Great Depression initially led to a decline in public interest and funding for lion conservation, it also planted seeds for a more integrated approach to wildlife and environmental conservation in the years to come, as people slowly began to see the value of preserving nature, even in times of economic strife. Lions have been a powerful symbol in contemporary art, appearing in various forms such as paintings, sculptures, and even digital media, capturing the imagination of artists and viewers alike. In many works, lions are depicted as majestic, regal creatures, embodying strength, courage, and nobility, which ties back to their status as iconic figures in many cultures. For instance, artists often explore themes of power and dominance, reflecting how society views leadership and authority. This representation can serve as a commentary on contemporary issues, such as political leadership, where the lion might symbolize both the admirable qualities of a strong leader and the potential for tyranny. Additionally, lions are frequently portrayed in more abstract or conceptual ways, allowing artists to delve into themes surrounding nature, conservation, and the relationship between humanity and wildlife. Through these representations, artists can raise awareness about the plight of lions in the wild, addressing issues such as habitat loss and poaching, which threatens their existence. This aspect of contemporary art often invokes a sense of urgency, urging viewers to reflect on their role in protecting the natural world, and can evoke feelings of empathy and responsibility towards wildlife conservation. Moreover, some contemporary artists choose to depict lions in surreal or fantastical contexts, merging reality with imagination, which can lead to explorations of identity and the human experience. In these works, the lion may symbolize the inner strength and ferocity that individuals must navigate in their own lives, serving as a metaphor for personal struggles and triumphs. This duality of the lion, both as a literal animal and a symbolic figure, opens a dialogue about how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. In street art, lions often appear as vibrant murals, celebrating their beauty while also addressing themes of resilience and survival, particularly in urban environments where animal habitats are encroached upon. These representations can inspire a sense of community and awareness, as they invite viewers to engage with the larger conversation about environmental issues and the interconnectedness of all living beings. Overall, lions in contemporary art serve as a multifaceted symbol, inviting discussions that span from the majestic to the vulnerable, and from the political to the personal, enriching our understanding of both the animal itself and the broader themes that resonate with our current societal landscape. Lions play a significant role in modern ecotourism, serving as one of the most iconic symbols of wildlife and nature that attract millions of visitors each year to various reserves and parks across Africa. Historically, lions were primarily seen as fearsome predators, often depicted in folklore and stories as symbols of power and bravery, which led to widespread hunting and habitat destruction. However, as awareness of conservation and the importance of biodiversity grew, the perception of lions began to shift. Today, they are no longer just viewed as animals to be hunted, but rather as crucial components of ecosystems, helping to maintain the balance within their habitats by controlling herbivore populations. This balance, in turn, supports the health of vegetation and the overall environment. In modern ecotourism, lions draw tourists eager to experience the thrill of seeing these magnificent creatures in their natural habitat, which not only provides a source of income for local economies, but also fosters a sense of responsibility towards conservation efforts. The revenue generated from ecotourism activities, such as guided safaris and wildlife photography, often goes directly into conservation initiatives, supporting anti-poaching measures and habitat restoration projects. This evolving relationship between lions and ecotourism has led to increased awareness about their plight, as many populations are currently threatened by habitat loss and human-wildlife conflict. Furthermore, the narrative surrounding lions has transformed over the years from one of dominance and fear to one of respect and protection. Educational programs accompanying ecotourism experiences highlight the ecological role of lions, emphasizing their importance in the food chain and the need for sustainable practices to ensure their survival. The rise of responsible tourism has encouraged travelers to seek experiences that are not only enjoyable, but also beneficial for wildlife and local communities. Consequently, many lodges and tour operators are adopting practices that minimize their impact on the environment, promoting conservation awareness among tourists and fostering a connection between people and nature. As the ecotourism industry continues to grow, the role of lions remains pivotal, serving as ambassadors for wildlife conservation. Their majestic presence captivates the hearts of many, inspiring a new generation of conservationists and nature lovers to appreciate the beauty and importance of preserving not just lions, but the entire ecosystem they inhabit. The historical context of lions, once seen merely as trophies or threats, has evolved significantly, reflecting a broader understanding of wildlife's intrinsic value in our world today. This evolution highlights the potential for positive change through ecotourism, which, when done responsibly, can lead to the relationship between lions and their habitats has been deeply affected by climate change and habitat loss, shaping both historical and contemporary narratives about these magnificent creatures. Historically, lions once roamed vast territories across Africa, Europe, and Asia, thriving in various ecosystems, from open savannas to dense forests. As human populations grew, the need for land for agriculture, urban development, and industry led to significant habitat destruction, resulting in the shrinking of lion territories. This reduction in habitat has not only diminished their physical space, but has also created a fragmented landscape, making it increasingly difficult for lion populations to thrive, find mates, and hunt effectively. In the context of climate change, shifting weather patterns, prolonged droughts, and changing rainfall can disrupt the delicate balance of ecosystems, affecting the availability of prey species and water sources that lions depend on for survival. The narratives surrounding lions have evolved as a result of these challenges, shifting from the image of the lion as the king of the jungle to a more complex understanding of their vulnerabilities. In contemporary discussions, lions are often depicted as symbols of conservation, representing the urgent need to protect not only the species but also the ecosystems they inhabit. Conservation initiatives now focus on habitat restoration, protected areas, and engaging local communities in sustainable practices to ensure that lions can coexist with humans. The stories shared in cultural depictions, literature, and media have also changed, highlighting the struggles of lions against the backdrop of climate change and habitat loss, which resonate with audiences who are becoming increasingly aware of environmental issues. Furthermore, the plight of lions has sparked a global conversation about biodiversity and the interconnectedness of life on Earth. With documentaries and wildlife photography showcasing the majestic beauty of lions, there's a growing understanding that preserving their habitats is essential not just for lions, but for countless other species that share their environment. This shift in narrative emphasizes compassion and responsibility, urging individuals to consider their role in protecting these magnificent creatures and the ecosystems they inhabit. As climate change continues to pose threats, the stories we tell about lions serve to inspire action, raising awareness of the need for immediate and effective conservation efforts while fostering a deeper appreciation for the natural world. In sum, the impact of climate change and habitat loss on lions has transformed the way we view and relate to these iconic animals, moving from tales of dominance to narratives of survival, resilience, and the collective responsibility we share in ensuring that future generations can experience the wonder of lions in their natural habitats.